Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone, my name is Razial. I finally managed to get around to make this video. Might not be big of a deal, but I couldn't help but to share it with you guys. But before we start, my goal for this channel is 100 subs, so it will mean a lot to me if you guys sub and share this video around. Also, I started to sell digital assets on my Ko-fi, so don't forget to check it out after this video. More about it at the end of the video. So what is OC-tober? OC-tober is the theme of Inktober of 2023, and sadly it is my last Inktober, even after getting cold and being so overwhelmed, but it's perfect for anyone who don't know what to draw. There is other month theme as well as like the one on the screen right now. So I chose to do the Inktober differently this year by trying to see if I have a lot of OCs, and it turns out that I do, more than 31 OCs, but it opened my eye to something very important as well, which I will reveal at the end of the video as well. Before I start, I want to inform you guys that some of the designs you will see in this video not 100% canon, because some are redesigned midway and some I might forgot the designs. I was in a rush. So in the near future you might see the updated versions of these OCs. Without further ado, let's get started. The first day is of course my OC Renan, next to Lord Betrayus from Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. Renan is an ink/goo ghost because she died melting after the war. She was a sniper in Team Omega, aka Team Betrayus. She was inspired by Splatoon's song Calamari Incantation, and I was trying so hard to not shove all Splatoon into her. But thankfully it got all out of my system, and I'm slowly start to improve on her to the point where she fits into the world of Pac-Man. She is Sally's aunt. There is a background about that, but I never got into it unfortunately, but I will try at some point. And I don't want this point to get any longer. And now to the second day. The second day is Die the Doom, that is DAI, and I know it sounds like the other word, the one on the screen, but this name has been stuck with me ever since, so I give it to them. Die was originally gonna be Shadow's son, but over time I scrapped that because it did not make any sense, so I made him Shadow's brother in some way. I know it sounds very confusing, but when you consider the events of Shadow the Hedgehog's game, you will see how things are connected. So far the comic I plan to make, it's still in development, so I will just give you some basis of who is Die in this comic. Shadow and Die were made at the same time. Unfortunately, Shadow do not remember Die because Black Doom hated Die for being the weaker and lesser than Shadow the Hedgehog. So, because of that, he got rid of him, locked him away, and Die was forced to be asleep in the whole Shadow the Hedgehog game event. After the whole saga, Die woke up after Black Doom's defeat. You might laugh if I told you that he was glad that Black Doom is gone for good, but ever since the whole thing, Die started to have very bad nightmares about Black Doom. Why? Because Die is actually more of an alien than Shadow, and because of that, he is more connected to Black Doom more than Shadow. Which is of course very bad, because that means Black Doom will try its best to break Die down to submission, and Die really do not wanna have anything to do with Black Doom in any shape or form. Which made me stuck, because do I make Die ask for Shadow's help, or should he try to deal with it on its own? So far, this story is still in development, And I'm still debating on how Shadow will react to this. Like, will he be suspicious about Dai, or will he believe him and might try to help him? The image you see right now is just the aftermath after the whole comic situation. I can't help but to think that maybe in the end, Shadow and Dai might have some good sibling relationship. Like maybe in the future, Dai will help Shadow with the missions and vice versa and such like that. I don't know, I just can't help but to feel like Shadow deserves at least something good from his past. Like he lost the human who made him and he lost the human he actually did care about. So giving him a brother he never knew about may be a good thing. But let me know down in the comment below. I feel like Shadow need something good from his past and I need some support after the whole madness he went through. I don't know how to explain this one other than it's just a silly old headcanon of mine. So many people actually believe that Tuana left Crash to date the other Bandicoot. I kind of forgot his name, but he had the bow tie and the shotgun. So I hop in and gave Crash a new girlfriend. I'm sorry, I wish I can say more about her, but it's been ages and I kind of forgot how I used her. So from what I remember, she meant to be Crash's new love interest and Coco's best friend. She can be a little silly and goofy, but when things get tough, she tries her best to be there for her best friend and Crush too. I never gone that deep because she used to be a background character, and I forgot how bandicoots are pain to draw at times. I might try to improve on her at some point, but for now I need to do some research about Crush for now. This one was hard due to the size and the posing, so that's why it looked weird. Anyway, Roxas was a dragon before I made her a Wolverine. It's because I feel like everyone have made dragons, like a traditional dragon like Spyro. So I challenged myself to make a new one. So I made a Wolverine. And I end up liking it a lot. So she is basically Spyro's hatchling slash adopted sister in a way, due to them being hatched from the same nest but not the same egg type. Because of her type, people used to pick on her, but after the first 10 minutes, you will regret it. This might sound weird and harsh, but she does bite, and her bite is like the worst, and I'm sorry to say this. Kinda like how cat will slap you if you got any nearby. Aside from her being a tomboy in a way, she is very loving to her brother, but she is a menace to anyone else who think they can mess with her. My biggest challenge with her is her elements. Like Spyro in the other game, The Legend of Spyro, I wanted her to have elements that is unique to her, just like how some elements are unique to Spyro and some elements unique to Cinder. Her abilities are light, force, sonic boom, and sound. Light is the opposite of Cinder's shadow, where she blinds the enemies. Force is basically moving stuff around, kinda like Star Wars, but I believe it's more for puzzles related levels. Sonic boom is basically her speed because of her wings, which makes her fly faster and she loves to fly very fast in the air. And sound is basically her screaming. Her scream is so loud, so strong, it blows the enemies away. I don't think her ability is meant to be too unique in a way, since she is just a sidekick and a secondary character like Coco or other characters in Spyro games. Although I am planning to make a comic for them at some point, but I had to figure out the plot. I remember I made puns for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared video to talk about the show and why it's great, even though it's creepy at times. Sadly, I do not have anything else to do with him. He is shorter than Red, but taller than Doc. He treats Yellow Guy like a little brother, but he hates Roy so much. The sad part is, Roy usually kills him off screen, which makes him the only character that gets killed off screen. I'm sadly stuck with this character. I wish I could do more with him, but my brain is so empty. And I don't know if we will ever have more of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared or not. I wish I can use him in a roleplay or a comic, but again, there isn't much I can do with him, unfortunately. Due to the nature of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared universe, it's kind of hard to try to continue it without feeling like debating and ask yourself, is it even make sense or is it even worth drawing in some way? Zane is my best OC so far. Aside from being already developed and have a clear ending and how the story goes, it made me feel like I should be proud of it no matter what. I have did draw Zane once in one of my videos before. Zane is my OC for Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, and yes, that's actually an actual name for the show. You can look it up if you want to, but here's the logo on the screen. It's a very old show that has started to air again on Disney Plus. By the way, you can actually watch it on YouTube and on Game Cartoon, so you'll be fine. So basically, Zane is Chiro's nemesis since he took over Skeleton King's throne after his death. But Skeleton King have returned, and he was so pleased that the only minion he created by his own hand managed to keep things in order for his return. Aside from him being 1 year older than Chiro, he is unfortunately a Dark One hatchling, and Skeleton King used his own DNA to make him have a humanoid form, which is of course a mistake from Skeleton King's part because he was a mortal once, so mortal flaws will be going inside Zane's creation. And that's what I mean by almost perfect. To make things more simple, for context, Chiro is actually 13 in the show. And because Zane is 1 year older, that makes Zane 14. Which means Zane unfortunately will go through emotions and flaws of the human being. And because of that, he is under Skeleton King's watch, which means Skeleton King does not allow Zane to experience human emotions and human stuff in any way or shape or form. But guess who will be there to ruin that for Skeleton King? Chiro. Long story short, I do have the lore planned and even the script for it. Chiro will try to make Zane experience the humanity he never had the chance to have against Skeleton King's wishes, and you could say it will be a huge back and forth between good and evil. I even have planned to have a second season for the plot where Zane will help Chiro out and whatnot. But I feel like I talked way too much in this part, so let's move on. Diego Diablo is a confusing case. He went from being just my ship child OC to being a fully developed OC for my fan-made comic of Cuphead. At first I thought it is 100% original until I found out that I am still using devil and dice from Cuphead, so you could say it's like 98% original. I will try to make it as short as possible. Diego used to be called Danny in the past when I was completely new in Cuphead, and I was in Cuphead Amino, but I left due to people want to change my character and being way too clingy to him, which made a good friend of mine leave the Amino, which made me sad. And some people even said I should be grateful after all this mess, but that pissed me off because, like, why even? Anyway, Diego is actually a demon mortal, aka a demon which is having a mortal blood, which make him not able to make magic or spells or sense on his own, unfortunately. And he is Spanish because his papi dice is Spanish too. Yeah, silly little cannon head of mine. Anyway, I know not many people will like it, but oh well. Sadly, I can't talk about his childhood because it's way too dark for YouTube, and I doubt any of you will be comfortable when you find out what happened to him right as soon as he hit the age of 7. But to anyone who do not fear dark backstories, I'm still working on the first chapter, and it will explain how his childhood was and what happened at the age of 7. So Diego worked at the Seven Sense Tower with his 6 friends who is also were born with the sin symbol. Diego's sin is lost, and because of his originally both being a child of devil and dice, that made him officially the prince of hell, as well as being the holder of lost. Unlike his friends who are demons in hell, he is more serious in his duty to take his role seriously. He does not mind free time here and there. You will be surprised to find out he's not into, adult time that often, since he is literally the son of Lost. I'm trying my best to not info dump you because this is a very long developed character just like Zane, but I never finished the rest because I need to work on the other characters because they are also part of the comic, so it might take a while. Rina Salazar is my main character in JJJreact, the endemic comic I am working on. I still need to make some changes. In the past, I did start the comic and I already have the pages, but I will have to rewrite a lot of things. And due to her being the daughter of Rex Salazar and how he got a child in the comic, because of the whole rewrite stage, it got me to have some anxiety because the original show have ended right at season 3, and I'm trying my best to continue the story without make the fandom feel insulted or something. I don't know how to explain it. So the comic would take a place on another universe where someone actually bring up the evils again but made them much worse. But again, I need to figure a way how to get through the rewrite stage and try my best to not be number one enemy for the G-Rex fandom. But I am open for suggestions and ideas. If you are a G-Rex fan, feel free to contact me. I will be happy to hear your ideas and whatnot. Man, I remember the good old days of when I fall into We Happy Few, but my happiness did not last, unfortunately. It felt like I am not welcome in the fandom. I don't know why. Anyway, this is my OC Dija, and he is actually a robot under all this cuteness. Yeah, I know. A robot in WW2. And no, I'm not gonna tell you what that is because I tried to say the word and it flipped my tongue. Anyway, I don't care how to start with this. He's basically smaller than the regular police, but much faster, which made him a challenge. I saw a video about the game the other day and the two DLCs. I fell in love with the game again, but unfortunately the game plot have already ended and covered everything, everyone's stories. And because the story already ended, I felt stuck with Dija, just like how I was stuck with Bonds. It's just I don't know how to continue his story because he and his sister are robots, so I don't know where to go from there. Maybe a silly comics here and there, like how they both act in the daily basis, but I will see what I can do. Lord Tyler. Unfortunately, she's just a Timmy Turner lookalike, but much older and evil. Her story is she ran away from home and she met the anti-fairies and she wished she can stay a teen and keep her fairies so she can rule both worlds, the human and the fairy world. The anti-fairy saw how evil she is, so they agree, and ever since they stuck with her because they're also evil. The style of fairy odd parents are so hard to make, so I might just draw them in my style at some point. As much as I want to make a very short comic about how the fairies and Tyler make plans and how Timmy tried to stop her and whatnot, but I don't know if Fairy Odd Parents fandom still exists, but I need to rewatch the series at some point in order to help me to rewrite for the comic. Zeke slash Zico. Um, Zeke is actually my Kiroko from Creatures of Sonaria, a game on Roblox. I was lucky to have him because he is the most rarest creature in all Sonaria. Sadly, he will never return to the game again. So I don't know if you guys can have it at some point or not. But yeah, so the game is actually a survival, like roleplay survival in a way. So you basically Pokemon, but you try to survive. Let me just say the designs of these creatures are hard. I don't know how, but it's just hard. I've been trying so hard to draw it naturally, but I gave up halfway, as you can see in the screen right now. It's very hard. Especially next to their mascot Milo. I do not have a lot of planned for him, unfortunately, and even if I want to make a comic book, I'm not sure because he's a creature from a game and I don't know if it's like copyrighted in any shape or form. So I just use him for roleplay with my friends, like in game or on Discord. You know, just messing around and whatnot. He can be chill and a goofball, but when things get serious, he is there for you. He's ready to take the hit for you. I almost forgot Zeke is actually a Glimmer Kiroko, which means he is actually a shiny in the game. So yeah, sorry for flexing, I'm just happy with him. Oh, this is hard to ignore. So for some reason I wanted to make a different kind of Frieza race OC without getting out of the canon of the race, which made it harder than it looked. Their full name is Shehrazan, but they've been called Shira since it's much shorter. You can say they are like a healer in general Dragon Ball universe, but they had their identity due to the fear of being killed for being mixed. I don't know why, because it was a very long story long ago. And if I remember correctly, the Frieza race are known to be bad, but they heal fast. But in my own fanmade story, and I'm sorry that I keep saying the same thing over and over about make a comic or whatnot. Anyway, they are part of Kuriza's team. And if you don't know who Kuriza is, I do not blame you because he's actually Frieza's son, but he is in a spin-off. Unfortunately, many people mistake him for an OC. Long story short, I have a very old planned comic about Kuriza take over his father's throne after Frieza, cold and cool, died. And I'm sorry, it sounds like it's a meme by now. They kept dying time and time again. Anyway, Kuriza sadly had to mature too early for his age in order to take the throne. And I have another OC who is like Kuriza's cousin, but in this comic he ended up being the commander of his army, even though he is much older than Kuriza by like 2 years or so. And Shira is like the right arm for Kuriza, of course. To be honest, all the three need a redesign. And not gonna lie, I kinda made Kuriza look weird, so I need to change this at some point. Not to mention, Dragon Ball style is so painful to do, and I feel like I will never be good at it at all, so I might end up drawing them in my own style. Like, of course, but what am I supposed to do? I was always worried about this one. I felt like people gonna comment something like, you copied Lady D, wee, or something like that. Even though I am aware that Lady D is not the first huge woman we ever had on the internet, but still, you know how people are sometimes. Anyway, Ruru, or her real name is Roxanne Rockmoon. I know, very original, ha ha ha. Anyway, was made up in midway while I'm watching JoJo and their Bizarre Adventure. She did not have any development until I left JoJo Amino. I know, it's very, very obvious. Everything is in Amino. Anyway, this might sound surprising, but she is from the same era like Dio and Jonathan, aka Jojo. She is known to be a tomboy, so she can just punch a boy and get away with it. But her father was so abusive, so she secretly watched him die on the floor while he begging for help. This might sound weird and might make people roll their eyes a little bit, but in the future manga I will be working with a very dear friend of mine. Roro is actually Dio's wife, and of course we're gonna explain all that in the manga. The reason why she is bigger than him is because of the 200 years of drinking blood. I'm sorry, that's the only logic I have at the moment, unless you guys have another idea why she got bigger. But let's face it, many of you still want a bigger woman, aren't you? Oh, I forgot about them too. How could I? So this one is Fia Knight. They are meant to be one of the oldest warriors like Galactonite, but they didn't age or get affected by time. My idea was back in the day was Fia and Galactonite was together to protect the galaxy and whatnot, but one day Galactonite just disappeared, vanished, bah, bye bye. And Fia was left behind, but they waited. They wait for Galactonite's return. Unfortunately, they are stuck in the Forgotten Kingdom, in the darkest corner of the galaxy. Unlike Mira and Galactonite, Fia have fairy-like wings, and they can turn into ropes. Their sword can turn into a wand since they are player support. I could call them at them because I don't know what gender they're gonna be, like male or female, but I will look into that later. And I want to make a comic. Like, if I ever wanted to make a comic, I feel like that's gonna be way too much of a challenge because Kirby as a series, it's hard to come up with something too magical or original at times because I don't know. It feels like it takes too much brain energy to come up with something. You know what I mean? Just like in the newest. I meant like the last game they released this year. I believe it's the Forgotten Land where Kirby's turning into a car. So yeah, I feel like that game itself, like with the development, it took a lot of brain power in order to come up with it. The only funny slash wholesome thing I ever had is if Fea mistaken Meta Knight as Galactonite and kind of made it awkward when they hugged Mira, thinking like Galactonite have returned. So yeah, you can say Fia Knight just missed her friend. She missed Galactonite so much. So seeing another warrior might at least help them with the loneliness they felt over these thousands of years. Who knows, maybe Kirby can help. Leave your comment down below. Who knows, maybe we can figure out something. This one ended up being its own character after I lost my interest in the game. So Isti is an Ender Creeper and she went from into so many changes in the past few years into its own character. I remember one time I wanted to make a comic, but I only used my pencil and few coloring stuff. Sorry, I meant to say coloring pencils and A4 paper printer. I only made 2 pages and never finished the comic. I don't know what I was gonna make, but since she is just a 2-mod mix, I feel like there isn't much to do. Like, she is just my go-to RP with, since she's just a big green cat. Unlike other creepers, she just like chilling. She doesn't blow up like everyone else. She like to chill. She like to be petted. Fun fact, she can try to speak some English words, but because of her creeper accent, you will hear the S more often because the S is too strong and heavy, kind of like made her have an accent. So if you have any word that starts with an S, so the S will be strong and longer. Like secrets. You see what I mean? Sorry, I don't know how to voice act. But yeah, ST is a very good OC to just hang out with. And if she is a plushie, I will buy her. I really missed No Straight Road. And of course, like I was saying about every OC I just talked about right now, I was gonna make a comic called No Straight Road 2, but of course I never got into it after I left the fandom. I don't know, I feel like every time I tried something new, it just never came to tuition. Anyway, Pierce is Tatiana's friend from back in the day when they still in a group and still in a band. So far Pierce is like the CEO of No Straight Road Academy, and it's meant to be like No Straight Road 1, but I gave up due to stress and such. And I couldn't come up with a good plot for it, so yeah. I'm very sorry. I don't know what to say about Pierce because she's just a background character and she is meant to be just the CEO slash a person you talk to between levels. Like if you need help, she can guide you and stuff like that. So yeah. Although she is thick, what do you want me to do about it? Okay, this OC is very recent, right after the Pizza Tower boom. I am very sorry to all my Pizza Tower people, but I made this hot boy only to ship him with Pizza Head. Ha 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 ha. I'm sorry, that was cringe. Anyway, I regret nothing, of course. Jokes aside, I slowly started to develop him as a character. Aside from being Pizza Head's favorite minion and his right hand, he will ruin your P rank run at random at any point of the game. Why? That's the boy. Not to mention you will fight him right after you got rid of all the bosses again, especially in the boss fight in the very end. He is your average Spanish hot pepper man who will show you the new world, if you know what I mean. You know, wink wink. I'm sorry, that's cringe as well. Moving on. I can't stress out enough on this old persona slash OC. She did have a comic slash manga on Pokemon Amino explaining why she got adopted by Arceus and why she is Arceus' adopted egg and why she went into the wild, tried to figure out her true origin and learn about the rest of the Pokemon in this world. Unfortunately, sorry, not unfortunately. First of all, there are some people who really like the idea because not only that this main character is going out and try to learn about the world they live in, but there is people who unfortunately are bugging me and saying that she is a Mary Sue at this point. And I'm sitting here confused. How is a character that is literally immortal will have to go outside, experience the real world, and try to learn, making her a Mary Sue? Like, I'm sorry, like, at this point, that makes me confused more than ever. Like, I thought Mary Sue is based on a specific thing, but turns out many people are using the word Mary Sue as a way to insult a character. Like, if you're gonna tell me a character is Mary Sue, at least explain why. But all they had to say is that she is adopted by Arceus, but that's not an enough reason to call her Mary Sue. Sorry, I'm mumbling. What I'm trying to say is, because she is not a normal Pikachu, she wanted to know where she came from. Like, if she is not a Pikachu from this world, where did she come from? Also, Arceus does not know why she, as an egg, was spawned suddenly in space. And he did ask other legendary Pokemons like Barkia and Dalkia. They asked them, is this your egg? They said no. They went to Mew or Mewtwo or literally any legendary and asked them, is this your egg? And everyone of course said no. So he tried to find out what kind of Pokemon is this or what kind of egg is this, only for a Pichu hatch. And of course he's wondering why a fucking Pichu is in space. You know what I mean? Like, this character is a mystery in herself, and she tried to find out why she was in space in the first place. So she tried to figure out the mystery, but of course people call her Mosu. Fun fact that I did only made 7 pages on Pokemon Abino, but it was all on hand. And sorry, not on hand, it was on my older phone, but I lost it sadly. So yeah, I kind of wanna redo the comic, at least the first chapter, but due to how Pokemon is big right now and how there is too many Pokemons to catch up with, I feel like this comic will be a no end. Like, I don't know, I feel like it will be too much to waste my time and my energy on a comic that will never end. Which is not bad. I know many people love Pokemon, but I feel like half of my life will be just making Pokemon comic book. And I feel pain. I'm sorry, I don't know why I kept mumbling at this part, so let's keep moving. Aside from my failed attempt to redo my old artwork, I feel like trash talking about this OC. Where do I start? So, basically, I'm sorry, I don't know why I even started like this. I will try to just get into the point. Anyway, his name is Gregory Torres, and I hope I said this correctly. If I don't, I'm sorry. So, anyway, he's meant to be kinda Spanish, kinda African descent in a way. Long story short, his mom is a Spanish African mix, while his dad is from Texas. Yes, he's a cowboy, which make Gregory also a cowboy. And his mother is actually African. You will find out later. I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush and not make this very long. Anyway, Gregory is sadly one of Freddy's victim. But unlike his other victims, Gregory did fight back. And because of him fought back, you can see half of his face is gone. So at first Freddy tried to burn him alive, but Gregory fight back and he survived, but his face is half gone. But then he tried to drown him, and sadly Gregory died from drowning in his own sleep. Then his grandmother found out, so she did like voodoo / witchcraft and made a deal with whoever she talked to in the other world / the other side. So her deal was let Gregory return and get his revenge in exchange for her soul. And even though I wanted to make a comic, I feel like I will just make a comic about his origin and that's it. Because the series itself, Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't know, the whole series felt like a mess because Freddy died, have returned, died, went to hell, returned, died. You know how the cycle is? So the only thing I could do is just make Okay, let me try to explain it as simple as possible. If I want to make a comic based on this OC, it will be only about how he died and later on became Freddy's nemesis. Why he is Freddy's nemesis? Because he saves Freddy's victims from Freddy. Why? So he can mess with him the way he messed with him back before he died. So it's kind of like back and forth situation with these two, and that's why the OC just died back in my mind, which I'm sorry about that, but I don't know how else to continue it other than make a comic about his origin. I'm very sorry. I feel like the slasher thing did not age well unless we can see new things happen in the future. But I will see what I can do. Okay, this one is very interesting. This character was made up at the spot at first, but over time I slowly start to make him more better and better. And he is more developed. And he's actually in a Transformers OC. His name is, of course, a reference to a character from Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, it was jokes and stuff like that at first, until I figured out that the name the name itself is actually a reference to a part of the brain. So yeah, I will try my best to make it as short as possible. His full name is E. Jinzu Cortex. And if you did not figure out, there is a middle name, but the only person who call him with his middle name is Megatron. Anyway, Cortex is one of the oldest mini-bots on Cybertron. He is one of the very first Cybertronian who was there at the very start of Cybertron. Some Transformers fans might want to disagree on this point and say this is illogical and does not make sense based on the timeline and whatnot, which is fair, I understand. But because of the timeline and whatnot, I'm kind of struggle to point out which theory it is at first, because we have so many series of Transformers. You have animated, you have Prime, you have G1, you have the new one that I kind of forgot his name, but I personally lean to animated more because that's what I grew up with. But don't worry, I will try to improve on the timeline and whatnot. Anyway, he was there when Megaton was like, I'm gonna start a war. And the poor Cortex was like this. I'm gonna show it on the screen right now. The poor minibot scientists have nothing to do with Megatron's madness, but he got dragged into it. Don't worry about it, since it's a very old, long-term roleplay anyway. I have this silly headcanon why Cortex is like a tiny dad figure to Megatron. And yet again, you don't have to worry about it, since this OC mainly a background character, so you won't see him that often. The only reason I made her is because everyone back then was talking about Welcome Home all the time. And not gonna lie, I feel like a failure for doing that. So she's basically Wally's sister, and she is a rare background character. You might not see her that often. And I've been using her for roleplay with another friend of mine. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do much with her other than she's just there. I don't know much about Welcome Home other than it's kind of like the Muppet, but the project got out of hand and the creators said they didn't expect the project to be this big. So who knows, maybe we will have more about Welcome Home at some point, and maybe I can improve her at some point as well. I actually won't be surprised if Welcome Home have like some kind of shorts on YouTube and such, but who knows. I was gonna make a story for her slash making a short comic for her, not that long, but unfortunately that was back when Breath of the Wild was still a big thing and everyone making a Zora OC based on that game. Koyan is a Zora from Majora's Mask, and unfortunately in that game she got cursed by a witch who she was in a mood to be just an evil witch at that point. And Koyan became a stone, unfortunately. Like, she became a Zora statue kind of way. And thousands of years later, the new Link from Breath of the Wild got her free by a random chance in a side quest. At first, she was thankful, of course, and she said she is going home. And of course, this is the sad part actually, because after she found out that it's been thousands of years and the Zoras of now are not the same Zoras she came from, like socially and such, of course she's gonna break down and cry and freaking out. And after a while, she will ask Link to take her back to her own time, like the time where she is with her kind. But Link have no idea how to do so, so you can say she got stuck in the Breath of the Wild timeline. Although she is a Zora, she is too scared to interact with other Zoras, especially the Zoras from Breath of the Wild, because they are completely different, and she is herself different. Aside from her wild colors and her ancient look body, she wasn't even that close to her own kind back in the day, because she was actually an artist, so you could say she was always in her place drawing and whatnot. But that is more of a shocking reality, because she had to learn how to be more closer to this new Zoras. But I'm not sure how these Zoras gonna react to an ancient Zora, you know what I mean? Now that I think of it, I feel like this is like the most saddest kind of ending I could think of. I don't know why. Like, I wish she can interact with other Zoras, but I think she will be picked on or something like that. I know that's too negative from me to think about it, but I'm trying to be kinda realistic when it comes to someone from the modern day try to interact with someone from ancient day. You know what I mean? Like, think of it like Gen Z interact with the people from the 80s or 90s, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but who knows? Maybe one day I can just make a short comic about her origins, and maybe if it started to look great, maybe I can make her interact with the new Zoras or such. Not gonna lie, I kinda wanna do it right now, but I know for a fact that this kind of comic need some writing and scripting and, you know, all this mess when it comes to comic creation. So let me know in the comment below and we will see. Thankfully, this character only exists in an AU, another universe, don't worry about it. Her name is Yakut, and she is one of Henry's creation and Bendy's child. She just a baby, and my Bendy, the Bendy that I made for this AU, loves her and take care of her. Even though he is a monster, he acts like a cat. Both of them actually. A cat and a kitten. And the funny thing is that she is tiny, but her tail is very large. You can use it as a bed or as a blanket. I completely forgot about this AU, but after the whole Bendy and the Ink Machine and the last chapter, it kind of like, I don't know, got boring, and I even left the Bendy Amino long before the next chapter and such. I wish I can do more, but I don't know what I can do for the AU, since the AU is basically Disneyland, but horror and all of it just made of ink. Who knows, maybe if I got inspired, I can make like short comic here and there. Another OC named Pierce, surprisingly. This time it's for a game called Box Snacks, and I got attached to it. The story and the gameplay are just amazing. Not like the most amazing thing ever, but it was decent and I kind of want to play it. As soon as PlayStation 5 was released, I really wanted so badly, but unfortunately, I was broke. But maybe one day. So, Pierce is your average everyday artist, always tired, always sleepy. She's very chill, and oftentimes you will see her just sitting in the corner just drawing. She came to Bugsnax so she can be able to draw again. After the event of the game, she became a famous comic artist. Who knows, maybe one day we're gonna have Bugsnax too, and I hope it's very soon, like this next year or 2025. Who knows? I forgot about Clash of Clans. Oh my god. So basically, I made this OC when I fell in love with Clash of Clans and Clash Royale again. I'm sorry for the random singing in the middle of the script, but it's kind of like a mix between love and hate. Anyway, Clash of Clan and Clash Royale used to be fun before Super Serious slowly changing them to pay to win kind of game. And I kid you not, I just realized that I do not like games where I lose 24 hours and hardly ever make any progress. Like if I open Clash Royale at the moment, you will see it try to make you pay in order to upgrade and have stronger cards and whatnot. And not gonna lie, kinda the same with Clash of Clans, but since it's more related to upgrade your clan and such, it made me lose interest. I mean, at first I liked the idea of just little clicks here and there and just let the game upgrade and whatnot. But man, do I feel like Supercell betrayed me. Sorry for the mumbling. Anyway, so he basically was gonna be like a champion like character, like the Archer Queen or Barbarian King. I used to have so many ideas for him and the other character called the Goblin King. And man, do I wanted to make like lore for the whole series, like Clash of Clan, and sadly over time that idea died out. And the worst part is that I did have names and characteristics for every goblin in the game. Like I have a name for the regular goblin, I have a name for the tough goblin, and another name for the barbarian goblins. I don't know why I loved the goblins in the game so much. I feel like they have more characters. What I meant to say is that the goblins feels like they have more going on for them more than other characters like the wizard, the ice wizard, the witch, and so on and so forth. And even though I wish I can like try to recreate the whole thing, I feel like it's not gonna last long, so I kinda gave up on it. But if anyone want to know about these names and the characteristics I gave for these goblins, let me know in the comment below and I will try to see what I can do. This is the most forgotten OC yet. She was originally Rainbow Dash's adopted daughter, but over time I completely forgot about Friendship is Magic series. I forgot they were even a thing. I don't want to be this new My Little Pony hater because I do not like the My Little Pony new design or whatnot. Also, not to mention that this kind of argument is so boring. Like, why do I want to fight about the new design of a new series that is already owned by a big company anyway? Also, not to mention, I am not interested in anyone who had the gotcha moment. Like, okay, I love the original designs, like the older Manatoponi designs, like how the colors are more softer to pastel. I don't mind the new design, but they don't click with me. You know what I'm saying? So if you are a Friendship is Magic fan, then you do you. Really, I really don't mind. Like, I can see where they can go with the series, but over time, Friendship is Magic became way too much for me to just sit down and watch. Like, I don't think the rest of the series is necessary. Sorry, I'm starting to mumble again, so let me just focus on the OC. So basically, if you're wondering why she have a mark on her chest and arm, it's because I do not like the idea of My Little Pony just have cutie mark on their leg. So yeah, I gave her more marks because I don't know. I just hate this kind of logic. Like only the mark be shown on their leg. So if I ever made My Little Pony comic, it will be completely different. You will have ponies who have cutie marks on their arms or chest or even cheeks. Legs, yeah, it's very common, but I would like to have more than just on the leg. Like, even though you have cutie mark, the placement is different. I don't know why I have this idea, but oh well, I am weird and I already accepted my weirdness at some point. But yeah, let's just move on to the next OC. I feel like I do not have much for this one. Okay, this will be a pain to explain as I know there will be people who will be upset on this OC. So this is LJ, and he is Peach's and Luigi's son. Yes, I have Peach and Luigi together while Mario and Daisy are together. Why? First, you have to thank MatPat for that. Why? Because one of his older videos, he did explain who is Rosalina's father, and not to mention the fact that Mario and Daisy was a thing in one of Mario's older games. I believe it's Mario in Salaz something land. Wait, I'm gonna show you the picture of the game right here, right now. It's a very old Game Boy game, so I doubt anyone knew about it. Also, I'm just gonna show the ending of that game and you can put the connection together. Look, I know many people prefer Peach and Mario and then Daisy and Luigi together, but I decided to just make my own AU and whatnot. Anyway, in the new AU, unfortunately, Luigi is kidnapped by a new enemy. I have not made it just yet, but LJ have to take the throne and protect the Mushroom Kingdom, along with his cousin Marco, aka the son of Mario and Daisy. Oh, and I forgot that King Boo will be a pain to deal with, of course. I was gonna make, of course, a comic of them, but over time I was trying to redesign them multiple times and kinda gave up. But I will see what I can do with them in the future. Okay, now he was made up OC2, but before I jokingly shipped him with Black Hat. And back then I never thought anything of it until slowly some people start to actually like him. I mean, the OC itself. I was surprised because that was my first time anyone actually liked the OC I made. So yeah, I tried to slowly build him up, but back when the show still in its plot phase and started to be accepted on Cartoon Network, but that was Cartoon Network on Spain. So I don't know if we ever gonna have villainous on the English Cartoon Network, but all I can do is just wait and see. Unfortunately, I had to leave the fandom as well. I mean, leave the Amino, and I have never returned because I was in mid of stress and I feel I wasn't good enough. And I feel like I made a fool out of myself. I don't know why I felt like that, but oh well. Right now, I might redesign Tinto Hat and make him more unique in a way, but who knows? I just hope that I have the time to it because I really missed him and I missed putting him with Black Hat. And not gonna lie, I did have ideas for how he gonna interact with the rest of the team. Like, Tinto is much nicer to Dr. Fogg than Black Hat, and I believe her name was Dementia. So I feel like him and Dementia will be good friends in a way since they both like Black Hat in a way. As for 606, not sure. I mean, I'm sure he will be nice to him, of course, but I never got the idea of how they both gonna interact. But who knows? I will try to see what I can do. Ah, yes, my husband hotel long lost OC. I'm sure that not many people know her. And I feel like some people will prefer her the most because Husband Hotel is a very popular show at the moment. I used to have a lot of ideas for her back in the day when I was in the fandom before I left. Long story short, she is Angel Dust's adopted daughter because her her biological mother gave her to Angel before she got shot. From what I remember, a friend of mine told me that Vipsy Bob said that Angel loved kids. Like, he loved to take care of them and kind of like a parent. So it kind of made sense and she kind of fit in. But the only difference is that she is a spider snake mix. And her real parents got shot by her uncle, biological uncle. And believe it or not, Angel might try to kill that uncle if he ever lay his hand on Anastasia. She had a twin brother, but that twin brother is actually Angel's biological son. I don't know how that worked, but I kind of forgot about it. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if I should rebuild the old Husband Hotel OCs or not. And even if I want to, I kinda already lost my interest in Husband Hotel. Not to mention, I do not want people to be too clingy on my OCs yet again. I just want to be able to make OCs without being like OCs are not mine anymore and such like that. I am not gonna lie, this OC had the most redesign and yet it felt like nothing fits. Anyway, his name is Dawn and he is the Dark Warrior. Kinda like Dark Master in a way. He was chosen by the Dark Dragon, and he belonged to a show called Shaolin Showdown. I don't know how to explain the lore, so don't expect much. So far, he had no choice but to be part of Chase Young's team. And Chase Young is the bad guy of the series. I'm not sure how I'll be able to make a comic of this OC, but I will try to see to at least come up with a good design. Hopefully, I will at some point. Finally, my favorite one yet. I've been thinking about this OC for so long, all of October and this month as well. I already started to have so many things with this OC, and I already have some ideas for the plot and the comic and the lore of the whole world as well, the Halloween town and the rest of the holidays. I'll try to not make it too long. I will just get into the point. Her name is Razi, even though you can see in the screen there is a name called Rasputin scratched out. That because Santa forgot to give her balls, and now she is named Razi. Okay, I know this sounds weird, but hear me out. Razi is actually was built up and not born in traditional sense due to Jack being a skeleton and Sally being a ragdoll. So one day, Santa came to a Halloween town to celebrate the Halloween with Jack and Sally. And without to spoil the surprise, he said that he needs some items that he needs for a specific child. Confusing at first, but Santa explained that this child loved Halloween way too much to the point that they want their toy made from Halloween stuff. And because he tried his best to do like Halloween toy, it just did not capture the Halloween spirit. So that's why he asked Jack for some items here and there. But at Christmas Eve, Santa surprised them by showing that the items he asked for, he was trying to collect them so he can make a child for Jack and Sally. Okay, I know this is way confusing at the moment, but I already planned how to explain it in more detail in the one of the future comics, because I feel like if I just said it like that, it won't make sense, you know what I mean? So yeah. Also, funny thing is, if Santa made Razi and made her brother Crooked, that means Crooked and Razi have the same birthday, aka December 25, the day Christmas Eve. I kind of forgot that it's called Christmas Eve and not Christmas Day. My apologies, I am ignorant Saudi. We do not have Christmas. But I promise you there is more that coming for the comic. But right now I will have to start doing the script for the comic and explain how even everything works. But I promise you it will make sense. And that's all my 31 OC tuber pages I just colored only for this video. I not gonna lie, this is like the longest video I ever made so far. Tired, but I'm happy with it regardless. Like I said in the beginning of the video, after doing the whole tuber thing, it opened my eyes to something important. One, it is okay if you never started the comic in the first place, because it kinda makes you rethink about it in the long run. Like as you see in this whole 1 hour, I have so many OCs. Some I did want to start making a comic, but sometimes you cannot come up with something due to either being stuck or you don't know where to go after the whole series. Two, not every OC need a comic. I know it's very obvious, but I kind of feel like a lot of younger artists think that they need to make comics for every OC they have to explain the backstory and whatnot. So I kind of want to point out, because sometimes not every OC or every character need to have that deep comic kind of thing, because comic book is kind of hard to do. Like right now, even though I just have like ideas and I know where to go from here and there, it just starting them and trying to plan is already hard enough. I had to learn that the hard way. And finally, time and space plays a very huge role into making comics. And like I said, I wanted to make comics for all these OCs, but of course there are always some elements that play a role into this. For example, the month of October, I really wanted to just draw every day, but of course my scheduled sleep just got upside down, and then I got the cold, which made me not want to eat, not want to drink, and I was just lying down on bed all the time. I couldn't even play games. Like, I remember the first 2 days just scrolling through TikTok, and I kid you not, I was trying so hard to eat medicine, to try to stay warm. I never felt that weak before in my life, and that played very harsh role into my whole plan and whatnot. Also, another thing is that while you try to like write down the script for your comic, sometimes the idea just won't come. And sometimes you'll just be sitting there hours trying to figure out a way. Not to mention, there will be times where you want to do something, but you couldn't. And there is times where you came up with an idea, but the time is very short. So please do not be harsh on yourself. And when you want to make a comic, try to do some changes around you, or try to see what works and what does not work. For example, if I try to write something but nothing come up, I get up and try to walk a little bit around the room, or try to see my phone if I can come up with ideas, or try to look up stuff. Also, not gonna lie, another thing that sometimes that gives me anxiety is the grammar. As many of you know, I am actually Saudi and English is not my first language. Sometimes I struggle when I talk, like even with a script and everything. As you can see, I sound like I'm struggling to talk, even though my English is kind of okay. Like some people say it's good, and some people have struggled to understand me. So for a creator who is English is not their main language, it will be hard. Like I explained, English is not my first language, and I slowly started to have like tools and such to be able to improve my grammar in a way, but still I need a lot of work. Not to mention the whole idea of copyright or whatnot. Like, you know how we all joked and memed about Disney always sent cease and desist or copyrighted thing? Same with Nintendo sending cease and desist to fan games and whatnot. So, uh, you could say that copyright can play a very crucial role into making comic because you want to make sure that you don't break any TOS or any copyright related stuff. Also, not to mention, sometimes fan-made comics or projects can take too long to be able to finish or to even make a story without the other side of the fandom started to point out that you are a bad person or whatnot. You know, the whole fandom drama or whatnot. For example, like I said with Pokemon, for example, Nintendo kind of make Pokemon every 3-5 years, I think. Like how we got Sword and Shield, and then we got Violet and Scarlet. So there's a high chance we're gonna have a new Pokemon game in the future. So imagine the idea that I did have for my Pokemon.se. Like imagine you have to start reading all the way from Gen 1 until the newest Pokemon generation. That kind of comic will probably be the end of me. And the worst part is that I might not even be finishing it. Kinda like how One Piece and Dragon Ball is like. But like I said, I want to take my comic creation seriously. But I need to have priorities first and try to have a plan on where to start. Which means some of my videos will be delayed or take some time to be made. Like this video, of course. And before I forgot, like I said in the beginning of the video, I started to sell some art assets on my coffee store. I started to sell them for $1. And I wish I can make more art assets in the future. So by supporting me, you will get more art assets in the future. Also, if you paid like $1, you can use the asset forever for free. You can say it's like one-time purchase. And I wish in the near future I give you guys more like how you gave me your support, and like I want to make something that is useful and meaningful, you know what I mean? And that's all I have for today, and you have no idea how happy I am to make this video. Yes, it was long, and this is the longest thing I ever made so far. But I promise you in the next video it will be better than this one. And if you like this video, please leave a sub and share this video around so I can have more energy to make more videos in the future. So till the next time, ma salama, bye bye, take care and be safe out there.